I've been dropped into this desert, and I am being hunted down by the one and only Axeman. Now, I have 100 days to avoid being captured alive, before I can escape from this desert ark at one of its 3 obelisk terminals. Now, let's get on the run before he finds me. So, I woke up in this hot desert, and I knew straight away that I had to get geared up and get ready to be on the run. So this started with a pickaxe, getting some resources, but since it was so hot, my health drained down and I slowed down as my bones magically broke due to heat stroke, and I died. Well, that's not the start we want, so I woke back up in the desert and got back to making stuff I needed, while journeying to find a safe spot to call home for the next 10 days. Well, Axe can't hunt me down, so I spotted some Daedons, which had me going the other direction, right into a... Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, leave me alone, no, 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 no. Yep, that's a rock elemental. Frick my butt cheeks, ah! What the frick? Yep, that's a terror bird eating my flesh, so back to making stuff again. Since it was getting so cold, I got myself a campfire set up, and I lit that baby up, and I stayed close to it all night long, so I didn't freeze to death in this desert. Then, I started building a thatch hut, before heading out to explore my surroundings where I collected my first explorer note, giving me a nice boost in XP. Then I made myself a bow and some arrows to help protect myself from the wildlife. Also made a slingshot and some bowlers, but when I headed back towards the base of my campsite, there were some terror birds blocking my path, so I had to go the other way. The following day I made a storage box and a wooden club. So with all that, it's time to get a tame to get on the run with. Where I knocked out this level 60 raptor and tamed this jabot, which I called Joe. And while waiting for the raptor to tame, Joe started screaming his lungs out, which means a wither event is on its way. So once the raptor Jane was tamed, I ran back to camp and it ended up being a thunderstorm, which doesn't actually affect me at this moment, so I made myself a mortar and pestle and got to making some narcotics to help in taming stuff to deter the hunter. But then a direwolf got too close to the campsite and I had to deal with him swiftly. I finally made Jane a saddle on day 4 and headed out on a little run with her, where I spotted a parasol that I knocked out cold and made it a saddle, and once she was tamed I headed back to camp collecting as many berries as I could. I mean a lot. Then there was these 2 raptors just waiting at camp, and could these be the hunter's minions? Nah, they're wild. No way he has raptors yet, he's probably struggling like crazy, dying and all that kind of stuff. I finally made myself some trank arrows, which I used to knock out this level 108 tech raptor. Nice and shiny. Then another thunderstorm rolled in just for the tech raptor tamed on day 5, and I called him Flash. And then I collected some silk, which allowed me to finally make a tent, which I can use to weather any bad conditions in this desert, and also allow for easy movement around this landscape, which led me to a new campsite, right near Greenob. If you follow my channel, you might notice this spot, where I was finally able to get some metal, and make a smithy and a metal pick, and then use it to get even more metal. Then, I made myself a metal hatchet on day 6, and got to harvesting with it straight away, as now we only had 4 days of safety left before the true hunt for my capture is on. Then, I made a crossbow, and I got the idea about taming some capros, as I can use them to rip the hunter off his tames and kinda be annoying with it. So I put down this trap and tried to get this capro in it, and well, I had no luck as it just ran off and I couldn't get it anywhere near the trap. So I decided I wanted to get a Procoptodon, which I found this level 120, and it was time to become the hunter myself, and chase this boy down, trying to trank it out all around this desert area, so I could have myself a brilliant movement mount, but my crossbow ended up breaking, and I had to let go of my hunt for now. And on the following day, Joe started screaming again, but it was different this time, which means we're going to experience a different type of storm, which ended up being superheat, and this made it so hot that I just stayed in the tent, as it was now my best friend for the rest of this point. And after waiting for the superheat to end, I made myself a sickle, some bear traps, which I'm going to see if I can catch a Procoptodon with them. Then I finally upgraded to desert cloth armor, which is going to help me survive more, man. Survive in this desert while I run away. Ooh! On day 9, I made myself a Procoptodon saddle, as I was very determined to tame myself a giant kangaroo to hop away if I get found. So I tried using them bear traps to trap the swamp, but I found out that the small ones don't work on a Procoptodon, and I would need to make the larger ones to get this plan to work. So I gave up going for this bouncy boy and started to head home, where Jane got stuck in my own trap and I had to break her free. It is now day 10 and my safety period is over, and Jane is stuck in another trap. And I just had to leave as I was getting attacked from every angle. So I needed to get another team member, and getting my hop on is not going to happen at this rate. So I went after another capper, and this time I managed to knock one out. But poor Jane was slayed, and this made me kinda sad, as she was the first one to get us moving around this desolate wasteland, and she will be missed dearly. But now, we have a jumping alligator called Aqua. On the following day, I decided it's time to get some wings. That's big bug wings for me, knocking out this Lymantra. Then I spotted this level 168 galley stuck under a rock, so I did what any smart survivor would do. Block her off from behind with flash, and then started to attempt to trank her out, but I ended up killing her instead. So that's great. The Lymantra finally tamed and I called her Scatter. They made her a saddle and was able to take flight. And with being able to fly around, I headed out to get some crystal from this mountain, which allowed me to make a spyglass. And now I can level check dinos and also keep an eye out for that pesky hunter. After that, I decided to collect this explorer note, and then I got micro-rapted, which sucked. But I killed this little freak and went on my way. Once back at base, there was a stuck Procoptodon under the same rock as the galley. And I was like, I gotta tame this one. So I knocked it out, and only after knocking out I realized that they only use rare mushrooms or rare flowers to tame. So I headed back to where I got crystal from, because you can get rare mushrooms from crystals. And on day 13 I was able to get some rare mushrooms, and I'm hoping this lot will be enough to tame that jumpy boy back at base. But it wasn't. I needed double of what I collected. And I can't be wasting more time on that, so rip the hopping dream. I finally made some desert goggles to finish off my desert cloth set, and then it was time to get on the move once more, where I left Aqua at this camp, and once I got to the new campsite, by this tall cliff, where I can fly up and hide as well. Since my parasaur from before was stuck under the rock with the Procoptodon, I had to tame a new one, which we called Nomad. And then a sandstorm rolled in, completely slowing progress for the rest of the day as I hid in this tent. Once the sandstorm had passed, I made myself a long neck rifle and some bullets, and then started work on building up this campsite with some thatched foundations, and then got to collecting much needed resources for the rest of the day. So, on day 15, after a quick drink of water at Green Orb, it was time to start getting some vultures tamed up, as they are going to be crucial for my protection against the hunter. Where, after checking a few of them, I found the level 174, but when I went to feed it, a rock elemental jumped out of nowhere, and I had to dip quickly, because I wasn't dealing with that rocky boy.
Ah, my butt cheeks. Nope, 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 and more nope. Why? Why are you gonna be right there, man? Why? Rip the 174 dream. Rip the dream.
Then I found the 162 that I fed before collecting a purple drop, but then he lost all his taming effectiveness because he decided to attack some stuff, so back on the hunt we go. On day 16 I finally tamed a vulture, which I called Gary, and after collecting the Spore Note, I was a high enough level to learn how to make a Thyla saddle, which means I'm going to get ready and set up to tame a murder kitty. And there happens to be a level 174 very close by to camp. But first, I went out and looked for more vultures. Well, at least a good little female to breed with Gary. Instead I spotted a yellow drop that had a wyvern very close by. So I noped to that and headed back to camp. And on the following day I made a new smithy, and now I was going to get prepared to tame myself a Thyla. First, starting to get stuff to build a trap, which didn't go so well placing it. This is a very junky trap, but I managed to get her knocked out. I then collected some mutton that I'm going to cook up, but was attacked by some grumpy vultures. So I ended up making more campfires to help me cook up all this mutton. But when I went to go feed the Thyla this cooked up mutton, this Kano chased me around a bit until he walked into my janky trap, which allowed me to get the last bit of hide I needed to make a Thyla saddle. And on day 19, she finally tamed and I called her Caramel. Gave her that sweet saddle I made from the skin of the Kano, and started murking everything in sight for some sweet XP, which included collecting some Explorer Notes to help boost that XP again, as I needed Caramel to be a weapon of a tame before I even think of getting her a mate. Then I spotted a female Tech Raptor, which I knocked out straight away, and she's going to be Flash's baby mama. And once she was tamed, I got her getting down and dirty with Flash, and got my first incubated egg, which at the time was too cold to incubate, so I made some campfires and got her incubating. And then made a feeding trough, but now the egg was too hot. So while I wait for it to cool down, it was time to do some exploring around the map, maybe find where the hunter is built and sabotage him a little. And while I was climbing up this cliff face, I was not ready for what was at the top.
Holy shit! Why were there so many microraptors right there? Oh my balls. There was like six! Six right there, why? Evil demons!
So I checked around one of the caves and thought I might build here for my final spot. But I don't know, it might be a bit too obvious. And then I spotted something. Some thatched structures inside a ribcage, which means a hunter has been on the side of the map somewhere. So it's time to head back to camp before I get spotted. He doesn't need to know where I am at the moment. And on day 21, I finally got that egg to hatch and called it Goldie. And while it was growing up, I went on the hunt for a male thyla to tame, but there were no good level ones at all. They were just dookie. So I spent some time making some trank darts and also made my first tripwire alarm, which I'm thinking could come in handy later on. Maybe give me a good warning system when the hunter's nearby. I got a full imprint on Goldie, which is great, and then got another fertilized raptor egg before getting a flamethrower from the jello drop. I wonder, could I actually use this to protect myself? Nah, stuff making ammo for this. That's too much resources. But the day did end with Goldie becoming an adult, which is good. Day 23 was a journey full of battles, with a fight with hyenodons, dealing with stealing pegos, having microraptors jump me.
Holy microraptors.
Rocks thrown at me by rock elementals.
But Sparkle, get out of there!
Fighting self-healing pigs. But by the end of it all, we moved to a new campsite and started getting set up here, as this spot will be a bit of a home base for a while. The camp was starting to get some form, with me placing down some thatch foundations, storage boxes, and then collecting a bunch of resources before a sandstorm rolled in, slowing down my progress. I also finally named my tribe, Catch Me If You Can, and then got Goldie and Flash mating as I wanted to raptor squad, and tame this Morellatops, Godberry Bop. We are now a quarter of the way through these 100 days, and I haven't seen the hunter at all. Well, if you're enjoying this, make sure to smash that like button. Let's see if we can break 5,000 likes for round 3. And on this day, our poor Parasol Pass died. You know, the one that got stuck under the rock? Poor girl. She'll be missed. I'm thinking this is a wild death, as Aqua is nearby and he hasn't been hurt. So I'm actually really guessing Axeman has no clue where I am right now, so that's good. I also started building up the fence line to make a semi-defensible base, to allow for easy upgrades for my gear. I then tamed this Archaeopteryx, which was just wandering around aimlessly near base, so I had to tame the poor thing. It just needed a home, you know? I then got another baby raptor, and then I got a death notification for Nomad, our Parasol. And this time, I think it's looking like this is the hunter's job. I think he's found our campsite. I got full imprints on all my new raptors, and then spent more time on the walls of the base before heading out to get a drink of water. But there was too many capros around this area, so I looked around and found this nice little hidden spot, which could become a good little hideout if I need it. On the following day, I added some ceilings to the base, giving me protection from above, before giving this hyenodon a nice pat, before munching on his soul. I got a new raptor, which I called Shockbite, which takes me to say thank you to my partner Shockbite, which helps me host some awesome servers for our content like this one. So, if you want to get 25% off your first month, use code Veno at checkout. I then made a feeding shop for the base to keep the teams well fed before I headed out for a desert adventure, collecting an explorer node, finding an oasis that could be a good hiding spot. But then, I finally tamed a female vulture called Meredith. She wasn't the best of levels, but it's a start to building the flock of death. And once at camp, she started mating with Gary and gave me my first fertilized vulture egg. On day 30, I spotted a red drop that I quickly beelined to just to be disappointed by the fact that I actually need to be level 70 to open this. I then tried to hatch that vulture egg and it started to go, but then it got too hot. And then, Aqua was murdered in cold blood. I knew this was the hunter's doing. Then I went up the mountain in sadness to collect some crystal and metal, and then I was finally able to make a fabricator. I had this pego steal my canteen that I just made, which sentenced him to death. Then I hatched 2 baby vultures.
Oh, hello. Twin.
Then Joe died, which saddened me deeply. And then my heart sunk even deeper into my chest when Axe murdered Scatter. Our poor Limitra. I will make him pay for this. So I made myself a pump shotgun, and then made a bunch of ammo. And when he finds me, I'm gonna blast them to smithereens. So my 2 baby vultures reached imprint time, and one wanted exceptional kibble, and the other wanted bride meat jerky, which I don't have any. These damn picky vultures. So I called them Greedy and Guts. Once they were fully grown up, I got the raptor pack out, and it was time to move, as I have a feeling I will be spotted here soon. So I went out into the desert as I wanted to hide near an oasis spot. Well, I was journeying out, I got chased by a deathworm, which was a little scary, but we got away. And then I reached the oasis I wanted to build at, where I found out you can't actually build in the area of the oasis at all, which kind of ruined my plan to make a epic base around this watering hole and build it up and make it very hard to get into. Oh well. So I headed back to camp where I spotted the hunter. He went and snatched up this Daedon as I was blasting him with shots.
What you doing?
He dropped that into my camp where it died quite quickly as he flew away and as I shot his Archie. I noticed that my vultures were missing, so they must have chased after him. So after seeing all the damage, I was out on the desert once again, heading out to find a new home. And once I reached this oasis near the Wyvern Trench, I found I still can't build around any oasis, so it must be all oases you can't build around, but there were some paces around, which got me thinking, platform saddle base. So I knocked this one out and stuffed some berries up its butt, before I found that I could build just a little way down from the oasis. So I put down a tent and stayed in it to wither out this heat, because I was getting a little hot. Then I knocked out this iguanodon before Goldie and Snagger were killed by wild raptors, which hurt my soul a bit. I started to build a little outpost out here in the desert, before making a saddle for our new iguanodon called Speed. Then I tamed a Jerboa, which was called Joe the Second, in honor of Joe the First. Then the pacer finally tamed and I called her home. Then I finished the outpost hut and I made a basic saddle for home. So I found out all I need to make a platform saddle is some silica pearls, and there's only a few spots on Scorched Earth to find them. But first, I headed up to the mountain close by and collected a bunch of metal to get my stonks up, before heading out on an epic journey to get some silica pearls, which I had Speed coming with us, but that didn't last long at all. Poor Speed, you'll be missed, even if you weren't with us for more than a day. Oh, that just sucks. That just sucks. I checked out the old camp where I grabbed some eggs that were left there before beelining all the way over to Green Obelisk, where I collected a bunch of silica pearls. On my way back home, I was jumped by a bunch of microraptors, and holy crap, was this a close call. My butt cheeks were clenched in this moment. Oh my bloody word. 168 microraptor. And while passing the old campsite, I could see the vultures flying towards it. Wait, they had returned, which means I got them all back to home with me. Then I made that platform saddle and got my vultures breeding. And started to make some clay, as I'm going to have an adobe safe spot on top of home. And on the following day, I got more vulture eggs incubating. Did a berry one with home, before heading out for some wood, where I found this hidden spot in the cliff face here, which could be another spot I could call home if need be. After collecting a bunch of wood, I returned back to home on day 38. I hatched 2 new vultures, which are called Gamer and Goo, after my great partner, which if you guys get sweaty hands when running around from dinosaurs, use Game Goo for sweat-free gaming. Use code Veno for a discount at checkout. And then I started building on top of that platform saddle, but I didn't have enough clay, and I needed to make more, but we needed cactus sap. Before I head out to get some, I got full imprints on Gamer and Goo, and then went on a journey to Blue Ob, where I collected a bunch of cactus sap, and got a bunch of clay made before collecting a bunch of wood. And finally on day 40, I finished off the adobe safe spot on top of the platform saddle. But when adding more, I hit the infamous too many structures, which had me having to rethink the design of this portable base, which sucked, because I had a really cool idea. God. Ark, why? And after collecting some more metal and crystal, I had another fabricator. And now it's time to get work on some turrets for defense. But we're going to need a lot of electronics for this. The next day was all collecting resources to build up this base. And on day 42, I got heaps of electronics made. And then the server we were playing on crashed. And have a look at the server message Axeman set up. Too bad you suck, Raptor Balls, Mr. Axeman. And then I got attacked by a deathworm and had to run my ass back to base, where I spotted a level 156 vulture, which I fed her some spoiled meat to start that taming process. And she finally tamed on day 43, and I got her to mate with Gary. And then a sandstorm rolled in and cancelled any other plans of the day. I managed to get a full imprint on my new vultures, which I called Grim and Reaper. And once Grim was fully grown up, I headed out on a journey with him on my shoulder, where I took down a tech parasaur for some free electronics. And also reached my destination, being Radar, where I collected a bunch of silica pearls before leaving. I then started my journey back home and collected a bunch of explorer notes before seeing the old city and its awesome coliseum. Could be an awesome place to build, but sucks there's no water around here. Then I had an epic battle with a deathworm, which we came out victorious and gained a bunch of XP. I returned home and went out for a metal run and wasn't even scared of being spotted at this point because he ain't finding me anytime soon. And well, I've been doing these metal runs on Caramel and I think it's time to get an RG to speed up this metal production. Well, I got this level 54 into this trap and knocked out. And then I let Grim down and he started to float into the sky. Cause he was encumbered, but I was able to save him by dropping stuff out of his inventory. And then the RG tamed. I called her Lightwing. And now I can finally make my first turret. And this is where I sadly found out that I couldn't place it on platform saddles, which is what I wanted to do because I wanted home to be a walking tank. So, plans ruined once again. On the next day, I tried to get pipes going from the water well, but you can't place these in the oasis as well, so that sucks. So I ended up making myself 8 canteens to keep my water up. And then I tamed a Lymantra called V-Scout, which I'm going to use for a very important scouting mission tomorrow. Now it's time to head out on our mission on V-Scout with the V-Bomber vultures following behind me. This mission was to either find the hunter's base or put my V-Bombers in a place to be a decoy to send the hunter in the wrong direction. So after journeying all over the map, I found the spot to leave V-Scout on Wonder and on passive flee with the vultures on aggressive, using the sleeping bag to fast travel back to base. Then, I got this electric prod from a mantis. This could be a good weapon to use, I think. I don't know, I've never used one. Then I made myself a crop plot, which I ended up placing down and got some plant species Y seed growing, which, once grown, will allow me to put them down to trap the hunter. Then I set up a little adobe turret fob, which I got my first turret working and went back to grinding resources. And I kept grinding that metal on day 51. And then I was getting ready to go on a hunt for a male filer, but a sandstorm rolled in and postponed that till tomorrow. Now it's time to get on that hunt, and the first one I spotted was a level 18, which is nope, then a level 12, level 42, level 24, then I spotted a level 120 female, which is not what I want, then a level 18, and then another decent level female. This is kinda hurtful. Before I spotted a level 90 male, then collected a free oil pump from this drop, which I placed down close by, while I got this level 90 into a trap and put it to sleep. And he finally tamed on day 54 during a thunderstorm. He was called Chocolate. And then I picked him up with Lightwing and started to fly back home. And while on my journey back to base, I had a deathworm chase me, trying to get a taste of Chocolate's fluffy butt. But once I got to base, he got down and dirty with Caramel, while I set up the second turret to the outpost defense. Then I got my first baby Tyler, and I called him Chip. He doesn't have the best stats, but if I at least get an imprint on him, it will be a dub. And then I knocked out the Scorpion for no reason, which tamed on the following day and was called V-Sting. And then I knocked out a female, and while waiting, I saw that my oil pump was destroyed, which means the hunter had found it. He probably went looking everywhere trying to see if I was nearby, but I ain't nowhere near it. I'm here in the desert. Right in plain sight. And once female Scorpion tamed, she was called Miss Stinger, and I got them breeding. For no absolute reason, until I saw that egg. That thing ugly. I did get a full imprint on Chip though, which is great start to the Filer Protection Unit. I then tried to hatch that Scorpion egg on day 57, but it was way too hot. I went and destroyed that RG trap that I used before, because I didn't want to give any clues to my location. Then I teased Axe in chat, as he hasn't found me yet. I'm an ass, I know. Then I built a little bit in this hidden spot in the mountains. And finally, Chip became an adult, and I was able to take him out for a test run. Now I've got all the speed and power, boy. And for a test, I decided it was time to check out this cave. But this vulture had other plans and destroyed some of my armor. And when I went into the cave, I saw so many nasties that I noped right out of there. I went back home, where I made a preserving bin. Finally, for the outpost. It's day 58 and I finally make one. And on day 59, I finally hatched that Scorpion egg. And I called the baby Snip Snip. And then we got a female Viola with the best stats I wanted, which is a dub. On day 16, I made myself some poison grenades, which I could use to get away from the hunter. Then, I went out to get a bunch of wood, before being disappointed by our new filer needing kibble for her imprint. Well, at least I can use her to get some more babies though. Then I made a ballista turret that I put on top of home. I spent the next day collecting resources before Axeman asked me a question in chat.
What does he mean? Pick 3, by the way, guys. I picked 3. Oh, this motherfucker! There you go, he can have it. You can have it. What I see is a mountain. Good luck. Good luck. I said you see out your window. I said you didn't ask what window, lol.
Well, now he thinks he knows where my base is, lol. He doesn't. He has no clue. He ain't finding me anytime soon. I spotted my first desert drop, and that had me so hyped. And then I was quickly disappointed as I needed to be level 80. I made my third turret, and then I got 2 new baby filers, one being Brownie and the other being Muffin. Then I spotted the hunter so close to home on a poison wyvern. This man has a wyvern? Then after a little while, I sent out a bait message in chat saying that I seen his wyvern. And he thought he can act all smart like I didn't see him on a wyvern. Now get out of here, bro. And on day 63, I was able to get a full imprint on both Brownie and Muffin. Then a thunderstorm rolled in, and I went out to get some metal in the cover of the thunderstorm. And this is when Axe flew straight over me on his wyvern. I seriously thought he would have spotted me, but he blind AF.
Oh my god, he didn't see me.
So I teased him again in chat because of it. On day 64, I decided to do some troll taming. I tamed some vultures along the trench and called them some stupid names, so hopefully if Axeman finds them, it kind of pisses him off. He also decided to try and ask me for my base coords. Like, he really hasn't found me at all. And like, I'm gonna fall for this. Come on. Ran back to base on the next day and repaired my armor and made 5 spare bolts for the ballistic turret. Then I collected more metal to make more bullets and got a new baby filer called Coco. And then Coco wanted some cooked fish meat for her imprint, so we went out on a journey for some fish meat. And first I checked out Blue Orb to find no fish. Not a single one. This water must have been pissed in by the hunter. That dirty fool. I then spotted a wild wyvern before seeing that the V-Bomber squad was killed, which means he'll be looking around that location, falling straight for my decoy. Then I finally found some fish and got me some fish meat, which once their base guy cooked up and fed to Coco and got that full imprint on her. Then I checked the wyvern trench, where there was an alpha wyvern, and any thoughts of me getting my own wyvern went out the window. So Coco was finally fully grown, and it was time to take on a cave to see what goodies I could get. I ended up dragging most of the dangerous stuff in this cave into the water, and made quick work with them, and then I spotted a level 156 Megalosaurus. And I am lucky that this is at daytime, or I would have been in a big shit. Big old elephant shit. I got these journeyman pants from this blue cave drop, which is actually quite nice. The shallow drop had nothing, this sucked. Before having to make everything around this rare drop, which ended up giving me a ascendant mantis saddle. So now I decided to leave that cave. I made myself some ghillie, as I wanted to try and tame a mantis because of that saddle. But the ghillie was not enough to tame it, so I needed some bug repellent, but I got no crops. Day 71 was a resource day. Then Milk was finally grown up, and I saddled her up, and then went on a deathworm hunt, which I only found one.
Ah, you silly deathworm.
On this day, but we murked him, made quick work of him. The hunt continued into the next day, where I needed to put torches on my saddles to keep me warm during the cold night in the desert. Then I took down my second one, before a sandstorm rolled in and stopped the hunt for a little bit. But once it was gone, I collected an explorer note. Then I took down my third deathworm, and we're still on the hunt on day 74, where I saw another desert drop, and I just looked at it with anger. Then, Grim killed this deathworm before we took down another one, before returning back to home. This is when I went back onto Chip and headed out to check out the trench once again, where I saw multiple eggless nests. And then a level 210 fire wyvern, which means there's a good egg down there somewhere, but I'm not risking it. I just, no, not worth it, not worth it. But I did get something nice from this drop, that nice journeyman pump shotty. Thank you, Arc Gods.
That's what we'd like to see. Journeyman shotgun.
The funny thing, as these turrets are going off, many axes finally found me. I was on the toilet as I was busting. I was busting at the seams. So once I returned from the toilet, I was on high alert though. It has taken Axe 75 days to fully find me. Then he destroyed my water well. Like, why? Trying to drain me of water? You evil person. Then he dropped a wild Kano on top of my home, which just got wrecked. Then he flew in and stole Nut. No! Not my poor
Come
Nut!
on, man.
He then failed with his Kano drop as it just ignored my tames and went straight back after him.
The Kano didn't give a shit! Bro, the Kano's aggroed on him, didn't even do anything! Oh, he failed! He failed!
I made myself a new well on day 76. And then not too long after, he came and destroyed it again.
Ooh.
Which is very annoying. I tried to shoot at him, but my aim was a little trash at this point. Then, I tried to pick him off his wyvern with Lightwing.
What are you trying to do, boy? What are you trying to do, boy? Come here. Pick you off that little piece of crap.
Before he dropped another Kano, which ran straight into one of my plant species by trip. So I just murked it. With ease. Then, he stole Muffin. My poor Muffin!
Muffin? Muffin?
Then he took a shot at me, and I saw where he landed and rushed at him to scare him off.
Yeah, you wanna try shooting at me? You wanna shoot at me, boy?
So now I'm deciding to booby trap this ridge of plant species by traps, because he keeps going here and I might be able to catch him off guard, hopefully. But then, I caught him off guard at the ridge, and again, and again, and again, rushing him like nobody's business. I was not letting him land here at all. He came at me with another Kano drop on day 78 where I was able to hit his wyvern with Coco, and then defeated the Kano. Before a sandstorm rolled in, stopping him from attacking me, but also not allowing me to get more set up, so
Oh god,
this is a bit of a neutral zone. On the following day, I set up some narcotic trip traps down on the ridge, so then I went up into the sky with Lightwing, hoping to see if I can catch the hunter off guard. And when he flew in at first, he didn't see me. Then he realized I was on Lightwing. Then I tried to pick him off, but he got me instead, so I shocking prodded his wyvern, he let me go, and I parachuted down to the ground, shooting at him as he tried to hit me. But this is where Lightwing had his final battle, and was killed by Axeman. You evil bastard! I was on edge after all these attacks on day 80, but then a sandstorm rolled in, giving me some relief from the attacks. On the following day, I redid how I had my hotbar, now with a whip and sword, so I'm all ready. And then he swooped in and stole milk, and I tried whistling it to attack, but I couldn't get it to work. Then he did another Kano drop, which is actually starting to get very old at this point. But he managed to get another one of my Thylers. So it's time to adjust my tames around home to make it harder for him to grab stuff. So I ended up just staying on guard for the whole of day 82 as he did not attack me. I then decided to go for a risky metal run and managed to find Chip up in the mountain. So after collecting some metal, I made my way back down to base with Chip, and he has attacked and stole chocolate. No! This is getting out of hand. And then he got Chip. Ah! Again! And also, he has two wyverns now.
Oh.
Definitely going hard out. He's definitely
Yes.
salty about that long neck shot from the last 100 days. So then, the following day, a sandstorm rolled in, which kind of stopped any type of attack from him. This got me thinking, I should make some flame arrows, but I need cactus sap. So I headed over to Blue Orb, collected some, and placed 2 hidden sleeping bags, hoping to use them to get away on day 100. I was able to make 50 propellant, but it came at a cost, as he snapped Coco right as I was making them. So, I made myself some flame arrows, and then he swooped in again, very quickly, so he must have an outpost close by. So I went and checked around the trench in the mountain, but I couldn't find anything. I made a chain bowler on the following day, thinking I might be able to use this to bowler his wyvern and get it killed. But then a sandstorm rolled in, so once it was over, I went back onto the ballista turret, and then I spotted him on a Thyleb by the ridge, where he sent in a bunch of raptors that just were sent in to slaughter. But this drained a lot of my bullets from my turrets, which is getting me stressing. On day 87, he came in for another attack, and he managed to pick me, but I was prepared, and I was able to whip him, which made me drop.
The whip! The whip!
And then I managed to land on his wing, and this had me all types of confused, as I was just whipping away thinking he still had me in his grasp. Then I fell off his wing, and then he tried another useless Kano drop, then swooped in and snapped Caramel. No! My poor Caramel, you've helped me out yet so far, now he's taking you from me! I'm not going to make this easy for him. So I decided to get on the move, but then he spotted me and stopped me on my tracks and stole one of my scorpions. So I moved to the edge of the map and hopped on the ballista turret, where I tried to chain bowler him as he swooped in but failed, and he got Berry Pop and killed him. How evil of him Then I got on the move again, but I was attacked by a deathworm, which we dealt with. Well, he just went ahead and killed Joe the second. How could he? Then another deathworm attacked, and this is where I lost all my booty on the platform shadow, and everything just turned to shite. As I just watched everything die, so I went up the mountain and saw him there. And he just took off before I could get a good shot on him, but I still hit him. So I headed to the Wyvern Trench after all that tragedy, and spotted my lost Thylas. He's been dropping them down here. So I ended up climbing down, and got Coco up, before parachuting back down, and got Milk out as well. And then it was time to get on the run again. But then, home died. My poor girl. You did me well. I am now with no home, and on the run in this desert. So I made it to the Colosseum, and decided to hide inside of it. I ended up taming a vulture, and started to set up a decoy base here in the Colosseum, with some of my old decoy vultures inside of it as well. And once that was done, we got on the move again, and headed on my way to the Temple Cave. And this is where I will hide out, until he finds me, or it hits day 100, and I beeline it to an obelisk. So I ended up getting Milk and Coco breeding, and then collected a bunch of resources, and built a little base in here. And then Baby Reborn was born. Then I made a gate, and then Flash was killed. And this made me a bit sad, because I actually had no clue he was still alive. Poor Flash. I made some spike walls to help make it really hard to get into the spot. Found out that I can't build inside the temple bit, so I placed them further down in the cave. And then Reborn got a full imprint, so I made her a saddle. And then I decided to bait Axeman with telling him to look at the old city, aka my decoy base at the Colosseum. Then I saw some glowing stuff through the cave, just like someone is using a fire wyvern. Does that mean he's found me? I don't know. So I made myself a flat helmet and then teased him again in chat before Reborn was fully grown up and saddled up. Then I went out for levels and tamed myself 2 vultures for the cave. Then I tamed another 2 and got them in the cave and had them all on aggressive. Then Hello died, which means he has found the decoy base, and then he messages in chat like I'm there, bro. You have 6 days and you're falling for a decoy. Huh, but now it's odd, as I teased him in the chat once again. Then, I was using the orbit camera to see when he got here, and he's outside with his wyvern. Then he used some C4 to blow up my gate, and I rushed, scaring the daylights out of him and killing his Thyla. Death to your Thyla, boy! And after that, I got an XP note for Reborn, just to give him a little more strength. He came back, but this time with 2 Thylas, and I attacked him again, making that 3 Thylas down in my favor. But then 2 of my vultures attacked and lost their lives defending me. I went back into the cave, just peeking over the stairs to see before going in deeper to heal up. Then I shot his army outside as he has left. And then he got back, and I was able to take down another one of his Thylas. Then I threw a grass nade at him, and this seemed to get him to back off for now. But when he came back, he had some grass grenades. Must have got that idea from me. So I had to retreat back into the cave, and he came in again and managed to kill my last 2 vultures. He dipped again, and I just held my ground, as I only have 4 days before I can beeline to the obelisk. Tried another Thyla, but I killed it as he's trying to whip me off my tame. He didn't even whip me. And after that fight, I changed on to Coco, and then I killed the hunter, and I stole his long neck rifle to replace my broken one. But I didn't steal any of his ammo, which I wish I kinda did. But because I wanted to leave it there as like a little trap to catch him off guard and take his life again. Then I attacked his wyvern, and he yelled at me as I climbed back into the cave, which he didn't know you could do. Then he started to drop Thylas in the hole, which everyone I killed. I was hailing at my Thylas, and then I saw he dropped in a lot more Thylas and decided to rush me. And well, he must have been very angry with the wild goose chase I've sent him on, and killed me. Which is not his goal. He has to capture me alive. So I respawned very far away from where the temple was, and made myself some clothes as I had nothing but myself now. So it's time to play it sneaky, and not get spotted for the next couple of days. But that's a bit hard on this map when everything is trying to kill you, like these terrorbirds. So then I respawned at one of my secret blue orb sleeping bags, and tried to tame an Equus. But taming one of these without rock carrots is straight pain, and a waste of time. Then I got attacked by some stupid bugs before cooking up their meat once it was daytime. And then I saw a white drop, and to say I wanted that drop is very unusual, but I did. There were some wolves guarding it though, but I was managed to get them away and collect the drop, which had some good stuff in it for me. Like a little hut and a bed and some clothes, so that's great. Then I spotted Axeman on his wyvern, by the looks of it, he's found my campfire, which is not good. Then he spotted me, and I was on a drastic run, and I thought I lost him, but I didn't, and he's shouting garbage at me.
I will save you. Give yourself up. I will rescue you from this saber-tooth.
Nah, you ain't saving me from shit, boy.
Up, win $1 million. I see you in the bush. I see you being chased.
So I beelined it straight into the water, trying to hide in there, but I ran out of stem.
Sir, give yourself up. I see you in the water.
I shall never.
And he tranked me out, so I drowned. So I spawned close by and tried to tame another Equus. Like I'm desperate for a tame at this point. Then I died again. I've died more times now than I did at the start. I spawned close to the green obot this time and tamed Joe the Third. Then saw a wild wyvern, which scared me. And a few minutes later, the hunter showed up and I was on the run again, leaving Joe the Third to hopefully get him off trail. I tried very hard to knock out this wolf, but I killed it. And then I knocked out this level 14 tech raptor and made it a saddle. And while waiting for it to tame, Axe found me again, and I was just fed up at this point that I burnt myself alive. He ain't having it, I'm not having it. So I respawned at the bed by Blue Orb, and that raptor that I just tamed, he killed it. I'm not even anywhere near it. Like, I'm going to be able to get that now. So I tried to run to the trench to see if I can get one of my Thylers down there, but I died. Then I died again. Then I got a little bit more set up before Axon had found me again, and this time I threw a boomerang at him while doing a 180 trick shot off the cliff into the water and ran off and hid. And then he got close and I kept running and didn't let him get close to me. But as I was hiding in some grass, a pig decided I would be his dinner. Then I spawned back at my bed and then I hid, waiting for the clock to hit midnight while he is flying over the obelisk. Blue Orb is where I'm going to teleport out of, even if he's here. Now, that is day 100. It's my time to escape, and I rush towards the obelisk, taunting him as he's on the cliff.
Making it straight to the obelisk.
Bang! I've escaped from this desert and survived without getting captured. I'm now 2 up on Axme, but we have still more maps to run it back on. See you all on Aberration.